Hello, my name is Robert Dean Steele, and this is your daily Bible class. We've been looking at 1 Peter chapter 2. We're looking at verse number 13 and following. It says, "Submit yourself for the Lord's sake to every human authority, whether the emperor or as the supreme authority, or to governors who are sent by the Lord, or by the governor, or by the emperor, to punish those who do wrong and to commend those who do right." He says, listen, you are called by God to submit to those who are in authority over you. You say, wait a minute. They're not godly. They're not according to our philosophy. Doesn't matter. They are set up by God to punish the evildoer. You know, it's hard for us these days to be able to submit to authority, especially many of those who are doing things that are contrary. But as far as we can, as long as they don't violate our conscience, we need to submit to the authority of those over us. Now, this was really difficult because the emperor that he was talking about was Nero. And Nero was not in any way a godly individual. In fact, he was a corrupt and terrible individual. But what he was saying was, the principle is this, that as we submit to those in authority over us, we are all submitting to the Lord as well. He says simply this, "It is God's will that by doing good you shall silence the ignorant talks of foolish people." People are saying, those Christians, they're so different. They don't obey anybody. They do their own thing. You know what? That's not who we are. We silence the critic. We silence the mocker. We silence those who are cynical by what we do. We are God's representatives. You know, Daniel, when he was living in his day, when his accusers came against him, they could not find anything to accuse him of. So what did they do? Well, they had to make some sort of law up that only the people would pray to the king, because they knew that Daniel was a man of prayer. Do your enemies know your lifestyle so well that the only way they can get you is through some righteous way? Think about that for just a moment. Well, we have to be aware of that. Then it goes on to say this. It says, "And also as well," he says, "live as free people, but do not use your freedom to cover up evil. Live as God's slave." So here we have this wonderful opportunity to live for Jesus Christ, to follow him with every fiber of our being, to live as unto him. That's what we are called to do today. He says, "But do not use your freedom in an ignorant way. Live as people who follow the Lord with every fiber of your being today." He says, and don't cover it up for evil, but live as God's slave. You know what? We are God's workmanship. We gave our lives to the Lord. And when we gave our lives to the Lord, what happened was simply this, that we began to say, yes, I'm a debtor to God, and I'm a love slave. You know, someone came to Paul in the book of Romans and said, "Paul, let me tell you this. If we don't have the law, what is it going to keep us in serving the Lord?" He says simply, we're a love slave. We're a love slave. We're doing what we're called to do because we love him. And he also says, show proper respect to everyone. You know what? We're called to respect everyone. You mean the little kid? The old person? Yes, we're called to show love and respect for everyone. You say, wait a minute, that person doesn't deserve it. Doesn't matter if it doesn't deserve it. We are to do unto others as we would have them do unto us. He also says, love the family of believers. Listen. We're called to love one another. That's the quality that we are called to do today. He says, fear God. Have a reverential respect for God. You know what? God can put you into hell if he wants. But because of his love through Jesus Christ, he has given you eternal and abundant life. Folks, we're to have a healthy respect for God. And he says, honor the emperor. Wait a minute. Honor the emperor? Honor that old character? There's no way I'm going to do that. No, we honor the office, not the person. We honor the office because that individual has been placed there for a reason. You know, one of the things that absolutely blew the people of Israel away was Nebuchadnezzar. That Nebuchadnezzar could be the hand of God to bring judgment on a nation that was disobedient. And here was Jeremiah says, listen, submit to Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar is God's hand. They say, wait a minute, God's hand? This guy is evil. But you know what? Even people who are not righteous can be God's hand. And we need to honor the office. We need to say, yeah, you know what? I don't agree with them. But because God placed them there, for whatever reason, God's got a plan. God's got a purpose. God's got a will. You know what? I'm going to honor the office. You know, that's what you do. And so we have these little words from Peter today. My name is Robert Dean Steele. This is your daily Bible class. You have yourself a great and godly day.